If you're over 55, you're the target of a massive disinformation campaign to confuse you and frighten you. You need facts to counter this campaign. 60% of our federal government spending, shown here on the left, has been pre-programmed or put on automatic pilot by Congress for our entitlement programs, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, interest charges on the debt, etc. The two smaller slices on the right are defense and discretionary spending that require yearly authorizations. The current administration is doubling the national debt, which took more than 2 centuries to accumulate. It's projected to double again in the next 10 years. We're now borrowing $4 billion a day, 40 cents for every dollar we spend. This can't go on. The federal government now spends more than $11,000 each year for every man, woman, and child in the United States. Multiply 11,000 times the number of people in your family. Our debt is more than $46,000 for every man, woman, and child. It's growing to become more than what all of us produce in an entire year. In Connecticut, we have to add more than $10,000 of state debt to that $46,000 per person. What do you think is going to happen to our entitlements? Social Security has only 3 workers supporting each retiree, and 10,000 baby boomers retire every day, so we're heading towards having 2 workers supporting every retiree. Without reform, Medicare is doomed. The biggest threat to Medicare is to do nothing to save it. So what are the 2 major political parties proposing to do to solve these problems? The Democratic Health Care Plan, Obamacare, the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, became the law of the land in April 2010 and started to control 1/6 of the economy. That's when job creation in the private sector stalled. In the next 10 years, Obamacare will remove $500 billion from Medicare and Medicaid. It sets a cap on Medicare, the first time an entitlement has been capped. This cap will be enforced by a board of 15 unelected bureaucrats called the Independent Payment Advisory Board, IPAB. Some people call it the Denial of Care Board. That's because the board, rather than you and your doctor, has the authority to decide what treatment you'll get and how much your doctor will be paid. Doctors are now being reimbursed by Medicare at 80% of what private plans pay. That drops to 1/2 in 10 years and to 1/3 in 40 years. Will your doctor even mention a treatment for which he won't be paid? The Congressional Budget Office, CBO, projected in June 2011 that under the current law, payment rates for physician services will be reduced by 29.4% in 2012. But doctors aren't waiting. Already some are refusing to accept Medicare or Medicaid patients. A survey by Opinion Research Corporation showed that about 2/3 of primary care physicians reported that new Medicaid enrollees would not be able to find a suitable primary care physician in their area. Physicians are leaving private practice in droves to join hospital systems, and by 2013, less than 1/3 of U.S. physicians are expected to remain in private practice. Here are some other features of Obamacare. Cancer hospitals will ration care according to the patient's age. Everyone on Social Security must attend an end-of-life planning seminar every 5 years. The government will specify which doctors can write an end-of-life order. The government will have access to your bank account and can make electronic transfers from your account. The bill provides insurance to illegal residents. The plan is subsidized for union members, union retirees, and community organizations. Obamacare places a 3.8% tax on the house you thought you owned when you sell it. Doctors will be paid the same regardless of their specialty, and the government sets all doctors' fees. The government can prohibit hospital expansion. The individual mandate is outside the enumerated powers of the government in the Constitution. But Obamacare is not for everyone. Waivers from Obamacare have been granted to Congress, more than 700 favored unions and corporations, 7 entire states, 3 million Americans altogether, more than half of whom are union members. Could selective enforcement of the law be one of the first signs of tyranny? Overall, that's the Democratic plan that's now the law of the land. What's the Republican plan? It passed the House of Representatives in April 2011, 1 year later. It reduces spending without harming seniors getting benefits now. If you're 55 years or older, you keep the Medicare coverage you have now, and your Social Security benefit remains unchanged. Let me repeat. If you're 55 years or older, you keep the Medicare coverage you have now, and your Social Security benefit remains unchanged. What about younger people who are not yet 55 years old? When they retire, the Republican plan provides a benefit they can use to purchase medical insurance that fits their needs, with guaranteed protection for pre-existing conditions. It lets insurance companies compete across state lines instead of having each state license only a few. So future retirees will be able to buy from whatever company offers the best coverage. Competition will lead to lower costs and better quality care, the American way. Republicans also propose tort reform to limit outrageous malpractice settlements that cause doctors' insurance costs to go sky high. Legal risks, and even worse, the risk of government fines, cause doctors to overprescribe and charge for tests that are not required based on their best medical judgment. Overall, the Republican plan is one that will not bankrupt us. These are only some of the differences between the Republican plan, which has passed the House, and the Democratic plan, which is now the law. Stay alert for any information or disinformation you might get about these two radically different plans. You may have seen ads pushing a granny who is over 55 in her wheelchair over a cliff. Why would somebody spend money to lie to you like that? Do they think you don't have the facts? This video has been produced by a group of senior citizens just as concerned as you are to protect one of the most precious freedoms we have, the freedom to choose the best care for our health and the health of our loved ones. Let's all try to be informed, involved, and inspired, and work together to get the facts out to more people.